Okay, the final stage in setting up your digital portfolios for your school is to make sure that you've then got the links to all of your pupils' portfolios. So as we had before, this is my example student portfolio. We've started to add our work, we've started to add in that reflection, and we've asked the pupils to make a copy of their published link. So as the pupils are doing this, what you're going to need to do as the class teacher is to share another document with your class. So I'm going to just copy my link, and if I go back up to my Google Drive, in a separate folder, because we've got the permissions set for this, that anything with this folder can only be viewed, I can then go back to my drive. I can open up my digital portfolios, and within here, I've got a sheet that I have with a link to the websites that I ask the pupils to paste their links onto. So if I right click on this document, what I'm able to do is to share, and automatically, or I'd say the folder set to anybody in Hub. So I can change this setting, and I can change this now to anybody can edit, because what I'm going to want the pupils to do is to be able to add their links to this site. So once I've done that, I can click done. I'm then going to share this again using all of the pupils' websites. I ask my pupils to go back into their shared with me folder, and then they will have the new document there that they're able to have access to. I've done this with year 3, and they weren't too bad at it, to be fair. We only had 1 or 2 mistakes, but as far as I'm concerned, pupils down in year 3 have been able to do this with some issues, but not any major ones. So they go back into their shared with me. They just click to open the document, and what they will then see is the link to their website. I pre-populate this with all of the pupils' names, and then the pupils find their names. I ask them to click onto where it says web link, and then I ask them to stop. And what I see then on my document is I see all of the pupils' names on this collaborative document, and before they then do anything else, I ask them to just stop so that I can make sure everybody's clicked in the right box. From there, they can just use the Control and V, and then we get a copy of the link to their website. If at the end you can see that it says school year 2021, that's because what I've done is I've got a link to this page. If I want it for the home page, all I need to do is to edit off the end of the school year and just type in home, and then that will take me to that home page. So what I end up then is with a list of web links to all of the pupils' pages. What I then do, just for my own peace of mind, is to make a copy of this document so that the pupils then don't go in and edit it because they still have the editing rights, and then I delete the copy that they had. And what that means is that I'm left with a lot of copies of links to websites. So you can see them here for some of the others. And what that means is that then I can paste this or take these links and put them where all members of staff are going to be able to see and access our pupils' digital portfolios. We then have viewer access within the school to their portfolios, and so would anybody with a Hub Cymru domain, which means they're working within education. If it's just within your school, what we need to do is make sure that you've got it set to anything within their school. Okay, now the final thing, and possibly one of the most important things that you're going to need your pupils to do, is to go into their My Drive, and where they're sharing their work from, they have to share permission for that with you. So when we're sharing it from our Google Classrooms, you can see my classroom folder here. If the pupils are seeing their folder and it's just a grey or coloured folder without the little person, what that means is that people will have to request access to see their work. So what they need to do is any work that they then put onto their digital portfolio, they need to share that edit access or viewer access with you. So in their Google Classrooms, all they do is they right click and they click share, and then they change from where they've got hub. It will automatically be restricted. So it'll be restricted to their account. They need to change it to anybody within hub. And what that means then is as a member of staff or within the same school domain, they'll be able to change it to anybody within the school domain, and they want them to have viewer rights, and then they just click done. That'll be the same for anything else they do. So if they're making Screencastify videos, they will need to share the Screencastify folder with that viewer access. If they're doing Flipgrid videos, they will need to share the Flipgrid folder within their Google Drive. So if as a member of staff you're seeing lots of padlocks where you have to request access, it's because the student hasn't shared the permissions with you. And it's a really nice way for you to be able to discuss with the pupils why it's important to have those restrictions in place so that they know who's seeing their work and who they don't want to see their work as well. Bearing in mind that you will have pupils whose work photos may only be able to be used within the classroom. Now, that's an important point within the safeguarding, is that because these portfolios are owned by the pupils, if you've got pupils who can't have their photos shared outside of the school or classroom setting or be used within the classroom setting, you really do need to make sure that any of the work that's done doesn't have those pupils on, because what we are doing here is giving pupils the opportunity to showcase that work within their portfolios and share it with that wider audience. And just like in the classroom where we wouldn't use the photos for anything within class, if we're not allowed to share them outside, we also have to be mindful that anything that's digital will be under those same criteria. Okay, so I hope that helps. As I say, we make use of the digital portfolios. The biggest part of it is that reflection, and it allows us to have that opportunity for the assessment of the pupils' learning. So we've gone away from where 5-10 years ago, the opportunity for assessment of learning was the pupil's book, and then being able to call the pupil out and have a chat with them about what they did 6 months ago. What we're going to be able to do here with our digital portfolios is we're going to see the work that was done. So we'll be able to make an assessment of the learning we feel as a member of staff or a teacher. But what we're also going to have is the reflection from the pupil as well and what they think they learned. Now, it could be that you use it in the way that we have, where we're making statements and they're able to type it in. It might be that you also add in where pupils have presented that slide presentation. They've done a Flipgrid or Screencastify video where they've actually delivered that presentation. You can then add in the feedback from their peers if they're using Flipgrid, where they've had responses based on the criteria for that learning objective. And it can also, or it could also be a video of the pupil saying what they feel they learned from that piece of work as well. So these digital portfolios give almost it closes where that piece of work can be taken from. It's done just because it's a piece of work and they're learning something, so we're then taking it to the end product where they're actually reflecting and they're showing what they've learnt through whatever means of digital work that they've been able to work on. Okay, I hope that helps.